right, ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand and join with me in our salute to our flag and country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And please remain standing for our prayer.
Almighty God, thank you for your presence in this place and for your faithfulness to this city we love. Please guide the leaders gathered here tonight, both those continuing in service and those beginning new chapters. Bless this meeting with wisdom, humility, and purpose. Where there is weariness, grant renewal. Where there is division, create unity. Where there is need, inspire compassion, creativity, and action. We give thanks for Mayor Gintling and his 10 years of leadership, for the steady hand and heart he's offered. We pray for Mayor-elect Ropp as he steps into this new role, and for Councilmember Gibbs as she begins her service. We also give thanks for former Councilmember Mills and her willingness to serve even for a season. May all who lead do so with courage, kindness, and deep love for this community, and may the citizens of Guthrie flourish. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor. You may be seated. Call to order our City of Guthrie City Council meeting of May 6th. The first item on the agenda is call to order. Then the second item is public comments, community announcements, and recognitions. Do we have any? We have none. The third item on our agenda is consent agenda, Agenda A, which is the approval of a special City Council minutes of April 22nd. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, submit your votes.
All votes are in.
See the votes. Unanimous approval from all those present to approve the consent agenda, item A. Item number 4 is items removed from the consent agenda. There were none. Items number 5 is city manager report, and there is not one at this time.
No report.
Item number 6 is a request or comments from members of the city council. I'm just going to do that generic. If anybody wants to make a comment, there is another option on the 68th City Council agenda also for comments. None? None? I would just like to take this opportunity to express great appreciation for the service of these men and women here, the staff in the city, and the citizens. It's been a wonderful decade. We in total have accomplished a lot, and the journey is certainly not finished. But with all of your support and continued staff excellence, that journey will, I'm sure, lead to many, many more successes for Guthrie America. Thank you very much for your support. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you all very much. That's heartwarming, for sure. With that, I'd like to adjourn our City Council meeting and call to order our Public Works Authority meeting of May 6th. The second item on the agenda is Consent Agenda A, which is the approval of the Special Public Works Authority meeting minutes of April 22nd. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Submit your vote, please.
All votes are in.
Let's see the votes. Unanimous approval from all those present to approve the consent agenda, item number A. Item number 3 is items removed from the consent agenda. There were none. Item number 4 is adjournment. We are going to do a temporary adjournment, which is Sign a day? Sign a day?
Sign a die.
Anyway, I call it a temporary adjournment because we will come back again with the 68th City Council. But right now, we are going to temporarily adjourn and swear in the new members of our new council. Judge? It's all yours.
Oh, I'm going first. You're going first, Adam.
Just remember, this is the shortened version.
Okay. Raise your hand. I state your name.
I, Adam G. Rock,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and that I will not knowingly receive,
and that I will not knowingly receive,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
any money or other valuable thing
any money or valuable thing
for the performance or non-performance
for the performance or non-performance
of any act or duty
of any act or duty
pertaining to my office
pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation allowed by law.
other than the compensation allowed by law.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
my duties as mayor of the city of Guthrie
my duty as mayor of the city of Guthrie
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability. Thank you.
We could have Ms. Gibbs.
Shiny new plaques.
Slightly different. Please raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Renee Gibbs,
I do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and I will not knowingly receive,
and I will not knowingly receive,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
any money or other valuable thing
any money or any valuable thing
for the performance or non-performance
for the performance or non-performance
of any act or duty
of any act or duty
pertaining to my office,
pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation allowed by law.
other than the compensation allowed by law.
And I further swear
I further swear
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
my duties as city council member
my duties as city council member
of the city of Guthrie
of the city of Guthrie
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Trying to sit back down in the audience.
Last but certainly not least, Mr. Williams and Mr. Taylor. You gentlemen, you've done this before, but you please repeat after me and hold up your right hands. I state your names.
Jeff Taylor.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and the Constitution of the State of Oklahoma,
and that I will not knowingly receive,
and that I will not knowingly receive,
directly or indirectly,
directly or indirectly,
any money or other valuable thing
any money or other valuable thing
for the performance or non-performance
for the performance or non-performance
of any act or duty
of any act or duty
pertaining to my office,
pertaining to my office,
other than the compensation allowed by law.
other than the compensation allowed by law.
I further swear
I further swear
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
my duties as city council member
my duties as city council member
of the city of Guthrie
of the city of Guthrie
to the best of your ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Mayor Rob, would you come and take the center seat?
All right. No, your light's always a yes.
Journey going.
Congratulations. Is it this one or? Cancel. Okay. There's one in the middle.
You get two.
I get two of them. Okay. Let me bring all my stuff over here. Thank you, sir. All right, can't forget the coffee. Nice. All right, thank Thank you.
Nice catch.
I did. And then last one. Okay, got all my stuff. All right, we're good. Gosh. The Papa clonazepam. Okay. All right, thank you. Want me to sign it now or later? Okay.
Yeah, otherwise you're not.
Proclamation that won't go. Okay. I put the little through it, is that right?
That's fine.
Told me not to sign my signature with the little thing I do on it. It needs to be plain and neat.
Okay, here, you gotta read this.
So,
You have to read that.
before we gavel in, I wanted to say a few things, and then I'll do a proclamation. But I was also told that we have an emergency situation that I need to skip to. So talk about getting thrown into the deep end right out of the gate. I would like to say, and like I said before I gavel in, to the Honorable Vice Mayor Aguirre, City Council members Tracy Williams, Jeff Taylor, Brian Bothroyd, and now Mineka Gibbs, City Manager Eddie Faulkner, city staff, and then friends and family. Before anything else, I would like to take a moment to thank and acknowledge Mayor Steve Gintling. Where did he go? He's over there. He's over there, okay. You devoted a significant portion of your life to this community and led with steady integrity. And on behalf of the city, I want to thank you for your service and your heart for Guthrie. The Guthrie mayorship is one of the longest-running municipality positions in the state of Oklahoma. And stepping into that legacy is not something I take lightly. It is a reminder to me that I am part of something bigger than myself and something that's been built over generations. I don't believe in honoring the past by standing still. I believe in using it as a foundation to build what is next. I look backward with pride, and I look forward with purpose. As we step into this next chapter, I want us to foster a spirit of mutual respect and civility. If there is a tone or a phrase that I would like to be known for, it is respect and civility. Both in this council chamber and throughout our community. We don't have to agree on everything, but we can choose to listen well, speak kindly, work together with integrity. I ask for God's guidance as I take on this responsibility, and I pray that our work together reflects His grace and wisdom. Leading this town as mayor is the most meaningful honor I will ever receive. And with that, I will call to order our Guthrie City Council regular meeting, and thus also beginning our 68th session. I believe this is where I need to go ahead and skip to the...
We can do the proclamations first,
Want to do
sir.
the proclamations first?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
excellent. All right.
And I will invite the police department in. They're waiting.
Sure. So item number 2, public comments, community announcements, and recognitions. We have a bunch. So I believe I need to come down to the podium. Yes. All right.
Speak loud. I will.
Or I can use the mic.
Well, you can do that too.
I'm in a council meeting. Okay.
Okay. The proclamation is May 11th through the 17th, 2025, National Police Week. Whereas there are approximately 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Guthrie Police Department. Whereas there have been 66,415 assaults against law enforcement officers in 2024, resulting in approximately 22,063 injuries and 282 deaths. Whereas, since the first recorded death in 1791, more than 24,000 law enforcement officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty, including 3 members of Guthrie PD. Whereas the names of these dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C. Whereas 282 names of the fallen heroes are being added to the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial this spring. And whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all fallen officers and their families. Now, be it therefore resolved that I, Adam G. Bropp, Mayor of the City of Guthrie, formally designates May 11th to the 17th, 2025 as Police Week in the City of Guthrie, Oklahoma, and publicly salute the service of law enforcement officers in our community and in communities across the nation. Who wants to accept this? All right, here. I'll step in the middle of you here. Yeah.
Small, Adam.
Look right here, ready, 1, 2, 3. Okay, if anybody else wants pictures, over here.
Thank you for that, guys. My name is Officer Quinlan, and I want to thank you guys for having us here this evening. I've worked for the City of Guthrie for 7 years, and I've never had the pleasure of attending one of your council meetings before this evening. So bear with me. I have a fear of public speaking, but we'll get through this together. So we just completed our department's first Citizens Academy that we've hosted since 2012. And it's the first academy that we've had in recent history where we've partnered with the Logan County Sheriff's Office. We greatly appreciate Sheriff Devereaux and his staff for their involvement and for letting us teach in their training room. 11 citizens from the City of Guthrie participated and completed this academy. They showed up and participated in approximately 40 hours of learning over 11 weeks. Participants sat through various classes taught by 24 different instructors and presenters. The topics ranged from the history of the Guthrie Police Department, the hiring process at the Guthrie Police Department, criminal investigations, range times, and real call simulations. We're very proud of all of the participants and instructors and wish to celebrate all of their efforts. Thank you to the City of Guthrie, the community of Guthrie, and all of the instructors and participants who made this academy possible. We look forward to hosting these academies in the future. Before we recognize the citizens, we would like to honor 4 people for their efforts to make all of this possible. City Manager Eddie Faulkner, Chief Don Swager, Advocate Trish Mutters, and our FOP President, Philemon Vasquez. You guys could. It truly was a labor of love for all 4 of them, and we greatly appreciate their input and their ability to let us do this. If we could have the 11 citizens, Art Matter, Sharon Matter, Alex Robbins, Taylor Factor, Katie Willis, Jessica Goodwin, Samantha Evans, Chris Evans, Johnny Field, and Julie Chebby stand up. We'd really like to congratulate them for all of their efforts and for their efforts to be a part of our community and understand what it is that we do at the Guthrie Police Department. Thank you guys all, and congratulations. I'm going to turn it over to my friend, Officer McNeil, and she's got some further celebrating to do.
Ah, got a bag of goods.
Thanks. I could stand on my tiptoes. On March 29th, 2025, a critical incident occurred within the city limits of Guthrie. Officers responded to a shooting with the victim actively bleeding. A quick thank you to officers involved. Sergeant Betterton, who took over incident command. Without his quick thinking, years of experience and service, I don't know if the incident would have resulted with the same outcome. Thank you to Lieutenant Loya, Detective Hamilton, Officer Stewart, myself, and with the assistance of the Logan County Sheriff's Department. However, this award is not about the actions of our department. This award is to show appreciation for the acts of a civilian. In the midst of chaos, James Gibbs stepped up and assisted an officer with securing the victim, helping to get her to the rear seat of a patrol vehicle so she could be transported to an ambulance nearby and treated for her injuries. On behalf of the Guthrie Police Department, we would like to present you with this recognition award.
Chris is a member and
Would you like a gift bag? I did keep that secret for weeks.
All right.
Okay. This one. Okay, we're going to jump right to item number 11. Okay. Resolution number 2025-03, discussion and consideration and possible vote to adopt a resolution declaring that an emergency exists within the meaning of the Public Competitive Bidding Act, Title 61, Section 130 of the Oklahoma statutes, and that the provisions of the act concerning the notice and bids shall not apply to the emergency because, one, there are conditions resulting from a sudden unexpected happening or unforeseen occurrence or condition, that being a water line break, specifically the 12 water line known as the Cottonwood Creek crossing occurred on May 2nd, 2025, and two, that said conditions endanger public health and safety. Mr. Faulkner.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I will be brief because Public Works Director Maker and City Engineer Bill Myers are here to speak on this item. As all of you are aware, we've had significant rainfall as of the last couple of weeks, obviously the wettest April on record. With that significant rainfall, we experienced some heavy collection of water into the Cottonwood Creek. And with that came some debris, which has damaged one of our we have two connections to the west side of the city providing water service to the west side. One 12-inch water main has been damaged and needs to be repaired, and we're asking for an emergency declaration to get that completed. This time I would welcome Public Works Director Maker and City Engineer Bill Myers to the podium to explain further and answer any questions you may have.
Yes, Mayor, Council, the last 5 days kind of been a blur. We'll kind of run through this, and then I'll turn it over to Bill to kind of further go through some of the processes. Early Friday morning hours, we started seeing a drop in water at our towers, dropping them nearly 10 feet, both our Langston Tower and our East Water Tower. Of course, our West Water Tower is offline right now. We currently have just the two major crossings. It took us several hours before we actually was able to isolate the leak and find it to an actual point due to the fact that the water line that was in question was underwater due to, as City Manager Faulkner shared with everyone that the Cottonwood Creek was high. It took us, again, several hours to even isolate this thing and get it narrowed down to that. Started shutting numerous valves throughout our distribution system. Once we got it down to a point, we had isolated our town basically from the east side of town to the west side of town. We then opened up one of the valves just to see and watch our numbers at the treatment plant to see pumps kick on and tower levels start dropping. It told us for sure where the leak was. We then regrouped Saturday morning with our engineer and responded back down, and it further let us know for sure that the leak was there. Water had resided another approximately 2 foot, and you could really tell for sure. And since then, we've basically been responding to multiple line breaks throughout our distribution just from the disruption that it has occurred. We're pushing such a large amount of water now through our only crossing, trying to feed the west side, that it's really throwing kinks in our pressure zones and stuff like that throughout the distribution system. So tonight, as City Manager Faulkner had shared with you, we're coming before you to ask for an emergency. We have, Bill Myers has put together a couple of options for us. Budgets ranging anywhere from, I believe, let me look here. Option 1, the budget is total project is right around $545,781, and option 2 is $441,875. Both very costly, but I mean, bottom line, really, we don't have a choice. We've responded to approximately 4 main breaks since this has occurred. Crews are currently still out there working on one, wrapping up one at 20th and Warner. With that, I will basically turn it over to Bill, let Bill kind of speak a little bit more on some of the things that he's looked at within our model, and to where it gets us to coming down to the two options that he's proposed.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. So this line is critical to the west side of the town, which is the hospital, Job Corps, and other facilities, nursing homes. It's very vital. We have 2 12-inch mains that cross the Cottonwood. That's it. These 2 12-inch mains. We just replaced one of them, thankfully, in the last year and a half or last year, Tinny, I believe. We replaced the one on 5th Street, which I'm glad we did it now, because that's what we're living off of. The line that failed we think was installed maybe the early 60s, because it's ductile iron pipe, from what we can tell. And the erosion, the velocities of the creek came up, and finally it got to it had concrete supports on it, and the pipe finally pulled apart and it failed. And your staff did a great job in isolating and finding the workers, your water plant staff and distribution staff, public works. So what we were looking at is the reason why we talked about asking you to pass a resolution to let us move forward is time is of the essence here, okay? So we need that other line in to help the west side. Like he said, it's affecting our pressure zones, how we're operating. We're functioning, but it's not good. So we need to get this done as soon as possible. And so where we are, just a couple things to remind you of, the entire reach is in the railroad right of way. So I have to expedite a permit with the railroad. We have to expedite a permit with DEQ. We have to get the design put together. We've already started surveying. We did that, started that yesterday. Started calling in locates on Saturday. So we're already moving forward as much as we can. Doing this, if you can consent to using this mode of progressing, it'll save probably 30, maybe 45 days in the overall process. So I've been to other cities. We've had situations like this before. In El Reno, we've moved this way and it works. It's not something we want to do all the time, but this is an unusual, extreme situation. And to my knowledge, since I've been here at Guthrie since '99, we've never done it, unless Kim can tell me different. We just haven't had this type of a situation to this extreme, if I can recall. So nevertheless, that's what we need to go through. We're working on it. With your approval tonight, we will expedite everything with the railroad, obviously with DEQ, and I'm recommending it, and I believe staff recommends, but that's pretty much all I have to say.
Are you gonna put the water line completely underneath the
Oh,
creek this time?
Let me,
That's what I was gonna ask.
that's a very good question, Jeff. So we're gonna do a directional bore this time. We're gonna bore from the east side, it's Second and Warner, and we're gonna head to the north and west over to the vicinity of Manser and Fourth, between Manser and Third, between Third and Fourth on Manser. That is all BNSF right away, or land that they own, fee simple. So, yeah, we're gonna put it in steel casing because the railroad requires steel casing. We're gonna put polyethylene pipe inside the steel casing. We're looking at now 18-inch diameter steel casing with potentially 12-inch diameter poly or 14-inch diameter poly, depending on availability of the materials. That's the plan. Put an interconnection on either end with a valve on either end, and we're going to abandon the old line and cut and plug it and do a few cut and plugs on another line that parallels the railroad in the railroad right away so it'll function properly.
And that's in either one of these bids?
Yes. The one I was concerned about, the one that I had, the higher one, was we would head straight east down Manser, and then we'd have to extend the line down First Street, I believe, to get to our existing 12-inch main. But I believe we can work it out with the other option. That one on Manser is a worst-case scenario, and I'm going to try to make it work with right-of-way and such on an alignment very similar to what we have now. Do we not have a map, or?
We do have, Aaron, if we could show either option 1 or 2 on the screen.
These maps are approximate. We just use so this is one.
It's kind of hard to see.
We're following the existing, can you see that? Following the existing alignment. And the map says 12-inch cast iron, but I believe it's ductile based on the texture of the pipe. And then the second option, this is one I was saying we'd have to extend straight east down Manser. We would not have any, we'd still need a permit from the railroad, but the other right-of-ways would be simpler, and we could go down First Street, which increases the cost. So I prefer to do option 1 if we can do that. It's also transverse or perpendicular to the railroad, which makes it nicer. So
Option 1.
option 1.
You don't have to go under the railroad?
No, we do.
You
Both of them we're going
Both
under.
of them you're going underneath.
The other one, they have to go down Manser.
Right.
Have you got, what's the railroad's attitude towards all this?
I've reached out to him. So tomorrow we'll start our normal application process, but I have a contact with the BNSF that he's on vacation, and he's supposed to be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
So we will talk to him and see if he can help us expedite the application. But it's definitely their right of way. It was platted in 18 whatever, and they were here before we were.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Right.
Is there a difference in maintenance or longevity from one and two?
Between the two options, they'd be the same, except the one has a little bit of just open cut 12-inch along First Street. But they're both boring the railroad the same manner. So.
It's a shorter run on the first one though, right? Much shorter to
Yes,
go down
it's
Manser.
a little bit shorter, and we don't have the extra 12-inch open cut pipe that we do on the second one. I say First Street, yeah. We don't have that. There's like 400 feet of 12-inch that we would not have to do if we can do the first one.
You mentioned it was simpler to go down First and Manser.
It was.
That's one of my concerns, that I wouldn't want to go that route.
Yeah, no, it's simpler in that we're paralleling an existing road, but we still have to get a permit from the railroad. So I was thinking we wouldn't have to deal with any other properties, but I believe we're going to be okay with the properties on the angled crossing. I think we're going to be okay with that.
So does the current one go across the railroad now?
Yes, it goes under the railroad now.
So it already has an existing right-of-way?
We have an existing permit with the BNSF, yes.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yeah.
How big is that pipe?
It's a 12-inch ductile iron pipe. We don't know what size the casing is.
I was going to say, couldn't you run a pipe through the casing?
We could, but the only portion that's cased is just the railroad. It's not, the creek is not cased. So the BNSF owns the railroad and they own the creek.
Right.
That's what
okay.
makes it complex.
Yeah.
And Bill, just to jump in, I don't know for sure if we're 100% sure if there's even casing under the railroad at this current time. I mean, we've not seen those ends. The only portion of the pipe that we've seen is a roughly about 25 foot, coming out of the west bank, still going down into the water. That portion of the pipe for sure is not in any casing. You can see the joints of the pipe, so.
And I was just saying that I would think the railroad had casing, because in the 60s, they were using casing by that time. It was a different process, but
Yeah.
I would think it'd be casing, but you never know.
You would want to say yes.
Yes.
We're not.
Yeah, for the safety of the rail.
Yeah.
And Mayor and Council, I'd like to also further clarify the reason for the purpose of the emergency is clearly defined in the PCBA, the Public Competitive Bidding Act. When there's a situation arise where there's an issue with public health and safety, we can go in, declare an emergency, and that will allow us to eliminate the 21 days, which is typical. If you're putting a project out to bid, you would have to put that notice out for 21 days, solicit bids, et cetera. In this case, where we've got the hospital, the school, the Job Corps, and all of the residents on the west side, every day is a problem. As you can see, we're having water leaks, we're having issues that we're having to correct. And with this emergency process that's already outlined in the PCBA, that's the reason for it, is to make these corrections and to make these fixes when these issues arise. So City Attorney and I have worked to draft this resolution. You've got a subsequent agenda item that will allow us to authorize a contract up to $600,000. That's what we estimate it will be. We don't know for sure yet. We became aware of this issue again on Friday. Saturday morning, myself, Tenny, Bill Myers, and the team were out there evaluating it, and everybody's been working through the weekend to try and get this fixed and to you. So I understand if there are questions. I want you to know that we're working through this as quick as we can, and what we have before you is what we could provide for this meeting.
Is your plan to come back to council when you know which we're going to do, one or two, or?
No,
No.
the agenda item,
right now.
This is it.
the agenda item authorizes.
So
the
why don't we
city
talk a
manager.
little bit about the funding side of it?
So first we need to approve the resolution.
I make a
and then we
motion
can-
then to approve option number one.
Well, but it's not just one.
It's resolution.
It's one or two.
Resolution, sorry, resolution option number one.
No,
It is. It's option number one.
it's the entirety.
Well, you're gonna do,
He has to choose.
vote on each separate thing.
Councilman Taylor, if we could get a motion to approve the agenda item as presented, please.
Yeah,
Okay, you want me to say that?
yeah, motion to approve the agenda item then.
Okay. We have
Which is
a
number
Second.
Okay. We have a second. Any other questions before we do this one? Madam Biggs?
Guys, you can get going on this thing.
There we go. All votes are in.
Okay, unanimous approval for all those present on item number 11, resolution number 2025-03. Item number 12, contract and approval and award. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to authorize the city manager to award without further approval by the city council any contract or contracts to any qualified contractors in a cumulative amount not to exceed $600,000 that the city manager determines to be necessary to effectuate emergency repair or replacement of the water line described in the above agenda item.
Yes, Mayor and Council, on this item, a couple of things. One, the reason to ask for this item is because any meeting of the city council is going to require a 48-hour notice. That's an additional 2 days. If we can get a contractor identified with a set of plans to make this repair, we need to make the repair as quickly as we can. Additional wait time, it's causing, again, more issues to the water distribution system. I will emphasize that the PCBA, under the emergencies clause, does authorize this agenda language, which is why it is here. I will also add that I've been in contact with the Oklahoma Department of Emergency Management. I want to thank David Ball and Logan County Emergency Management, Stephen Haga. We've been working together. We do believe there's an opportunity due to the cause with the flooding that we've received and this heavy rainfall. We do think there's an opportunity to receive a reimbursement from FEMA on this project. However, that is way down the road at this point. So until we get through the project, know what it's going to cost, and have it completed, we won't have any idea if there will be any reimbursement. The city engineer has provided you 2 options, which are in your packet, as he has previously identified. I will say and add, because there's obviously questions about how we're going to pay for this, and first thing I want to say is the water is the first priority. So everything else in the budget at this point is paused until we can make this correction. My proposal today is to use unbudgeted fund balance in the amount of up to $600,000. So I feel very strongly in the city engineer's proposal and his quotes and design. At this point, I think we can get it done for that. We have the funds in the unbudgeted fund balance, and at this time, that's my recommendation.
Okay. Any more questions about that item?
That's GPWA, right?
That would be GPWA, that's correct.
I mean, is there any particular reason why 600,000 is significantly more than the second option and the first option?
Yeah, I would invite the engineer to come up and speak about that. I think his,
Well, I mean, I know there's more, but that's a significant difference whenever his first option was one, which was $441,875. That's a large difference between 600,000.
Well, and what was the second one? I can't remember. Was it
The
5?
second one was 545,781.
I think what the thought there was in talking with the manager and Tenny, we don't have to come back and do this again if it's more than what we thought. I mean, we're going to do everything in our power to mitigate the cost and get the right design, the right product, the right install for the most cost-effective pattern. So that's where we're headed. So that was a thought. We didn't have to come back and in case something happened for time's sake, because it's a time
Yes.
intense thing to schedule a meeting.
something I would add to that too, I believe the connection going back, and Tenny, you can jump in anytime, going back to Mansur and having to reroute, and we can look at the design if we need to. I believe we would have to come up an additional block.
Right.
Still have to take care of the line that's existing in place, so the cut and plug and the removal of that line, and then go down. So there's an additional scope, which caused that to increase. And again, these are engineers' estimates based on what we know at this point.
Well, hopefully we don't have to go to 2.
We hope not. We hope not. Ideally, we could get it done for the 350,000.
That's the plan.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
plan.
It's just that, you hate to approve 600,000 and, the goal is 441 and to actually get to 600.
Well, that's not, I want to say.
And I would add too, though, also, that's not something that I take lightly. And I think that our city staff has proven in our time that we've been here, we're not spending money freely. So as efficiently as we can get the job done, I make you that promise that we will get that done as efficiently and effectively as possible. So I don't take that lightly. I would never come and ask for a $600,000 blank check if it wasn't the circumstances in which we were in.
Well, and on option 1 is not going to cost anywhere near 600,000.
That's correct.
So,
And I will keep you informed just as I have since this occurred, as much as I can.
I'd throw in just where we're at, this is about 800 feet that we're looking at boring approximate, give or take, and that's a pretty substantial bore. It's an extremely deep bore. I mean, it's a pretty deep bore just to get under the railroad, and then we're a short distance from the railroad to the first edge of the creek, and then you're also diving again to get underneath the creek, which is extremely deep, and you really don't know. If we can make that happen, we can shorten that bore, absolutely, we'll do that. But we have to, I think, keep the mindset here, worst case scenarios, and be prepared for that. I think, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, if we do have, if we can't get this thing expedited through the railroad, that process could be up to 3 months. And as I said earlier, we're 5 days into this thing, and we've already responded to 2 of 5 breaks that we totally had to isolate our west side of town completely off, meaning the hospital had no water, school had no water, for hours at times. So until our crews was able to get this thing fixed. So hopefully we can expedite it. We're still seeing water loss at our treatment plant. Our treatment plant normally we were seeing 6 to 8 hour run times at our treatment plant. Our guys down there now are running through 17-hour run times at our treatment plant. Meaning, that's how much water we're still losing, and we're still, I mean, it's going into creek. All that results in chemical loss. We've had to do special orders to get enough chemical in to treat that amount of water. It's not our normal daily runs. So all of that, I think, plays factor in this thing on us trying to get this moved through as quickly as we can. So share that, and I don't know, I mean, also talking with David Ball, as the city manager shared, I think the countywide, we have to meet a threshold for that. That
Yes.
threshold for our county is $233,899.60. Now statewide, we also still have to meet a threshold statewide. Statewide, it's $7.4 million. David feels confident in that, but again, as city manager shared, it's unknown at this time for that reimbursement. That would be a basically 75% reimbursement, as some of you guys, everyone's familiar with our reimbursements through FEMA. That's a 75% reimbursement that could be for this project through FEMA. There used to be a 12.5 through the state. That's no longer. The 12.5% reimbursement went away. So basically, we would have about a 25% expenditure here if we do get that declared.
And to add to that, even if we meet those thresholds, the president still has the opportunity to individually review and approve or deny. And so we've seen some cases recently with some storm damage in other states where, although they met the thresholds and FEMA approved, the president did not. So there's a whole lot of factors into that reimbursement. I don't want anybody to count on the reimbursement. We need to consider this item as if we were paying for it ourselves. And
So-
we're prepared to do so.
If the secondary pipe breaks, we're out of water on the west side completely. Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
So,
And that effectively shuts the hospital.
Rains and all.
yeah, so I make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'll second that.
There's a motion made.
Didn't want to cut anybody off.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion.
There's been a motion and a second.
Motion and a second.
You screwed me.
Any more questions? Okay, Madam Biggs, cast your votes.
All votes are in.
Okay, unanimous approval for everyone present for the contract approval and award. You're welcome, sir. All right. So. Well, I wish we could just go right to 13, Eddie, right? No, we're going to scroll right back to the top.
Take 100 years to get to the top.
Okay, now we're back on track. Item number 3 is consent agenda, items A through C. Do we want to entertain a motion for all of those, or does anybody have any questions or anything removed? No?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions, concerns? All right, let's see the votes. Madam Biggs.
All votes are in.
All right, unanimous approval for the consent agenda. Item number 4, which is items removed from the consent agenda. There were none. So we'll do item number 5, which is a presentation from the University of Oklahoma landscape architecture students. Justin Fortney.
Jog up here. Just going to introduce this item to y'all. We're excited to welcome Dr. Sarah Little and her students, Solomon, Monty, and Peyton from the University of Oklahoma Gibbs College of Architecture. It's always a pleasure having Dr. Little and her students in Guthrie to gain practical experience planning projects in our city. This semester, they elected to create a few visions for the shops and the adjacent lot on the corner of Wentz and Oklahoma. It's been fun to watch the process with the students, and their work is inspiring, not just for this space, but for various spaces throughout Guthrie. We're thankful to Dr. Little for choosing Guthrie as a subject for her students to apply their creativity and skills, and I think you will all see that they have a bright future ahead. So I'm going to welcome y'all up.
I didn't realize you
I feel like I can't let this moment go without saying, and now for something completely different, right? I'm really sorry that y'all are going through all of the infrastructure issues, but I hope this presentation will remind you how special Guthrie is and maybe ease the burden that you're faced with right now. So my class, we looked at the shops in downtown Guthrie. And as Shonda said, I'm here with Solomon, Peyton, and Monty. Before we get into the presentation, I always like to tell people what landscape architecture is, because we're a really small discipline. So like architects work with buildings, we work with outdoor spaces. And so we do a lot of community engagement to help people in communities like create a vision for their outdoor spaces. And these are spaces where people live their lives, right? They have access to nature, they gather with friends and family. And we want to make sure that these spaces are accessible to everyone, regardless of ability or income or age. And we do a lot of community engagement in the landscape architecture program. That top left picture was taken a few years back in 2022 on a project that I worked with Guthrie before. And just to remind you, it was from the ACOG SERI grant. So this was the economic resilience coming out of COVID. This was the plan for the Elbow Recreational and Cultural Area. And part of that was looking at South 5th Street to renovate that, spurring economic development, incorporating some on-street parking. And of particular interest is that little black square near the number 6. So that was the other site that my students worked on. And so for this class, 6643, Urban Design Theory, we had these two sites along Oklahoma Avenue. So the site on the west, which is a beer garden, at that side, the urban fabric is kind of frayed. And so students who worked on that project wanted to spark economic development on the western end and kind of restore the street in that area. And then what we're going to talk to you tonight is the shop area on the east. So right in the middle of beautiful downtown, and how can we use that space to kind of bring it into the urban environment there. And so we're going to start with Solomon Murillo with his design.
Thank you. So this is where I started with this. This is a plan view of what I wanted to do here. So currently there's a parking lot there that is just a really hot spot. It's not really used. It's used for farmers markets, but throughout the week it might not be used as much. And so I wanted to combine where the markets are now and take the fence off and just open that space out and create an outdoor room. And so this is going to have a larger lawn space, and it's going to have a really long pergola, and then I'm going to have some planting to create that border, to create that experience as you walk into this area. And then also one of the things that there is a bathroom out there, and no one really likes to look at a bathroom, and so I want to create a border from that and create it to where it's blocked off. And then so here's a section of what that might look like. So we would have the cars in front, we'd have the pergola, and then the markets would be in the back. This would just open that space up and combine what the available space there, and this would hopefully bring people into this area. This could also be used as a place to use for family engagements, family gatherings, or something like that. It could be rented out for that, or it could be used for putting movies up on the wall. And just kind of some city, some community events like that. And so we also created a plant palette for this. Some of the plants that I wanted to select here are native to Oklahoma, and most importantly, they're low maintenance. You guys know that a lot of money is used within the city, so try to find ways to reduce the cost on maintenance. So these are all native to Oklahoma, and they thrive in our cultures, in our temperature range, and so these are very minimal maintenance required. And so that's what I have for you guys, and Peyton's going to go next. Thank you.
Okay. So starting just with the plant palette, kind of like Solomon had talked about, I really just wanted to use a lot of Oklahoma natives. They're drought tolerant. So again, very low maintenance. And then on the top there, I provided a bloom chart. So you can see a lot of these plants will create year-round interest. So there's always something to look at anytime that you're there. So this is just the overall plan. I really wanted to focus on the parking lot side. So you can always continue kind of like that brickwork through the shops area. But I wanted to maintain the current uses. So we learned that a lot of this space is very multi-use. Y'all host some events there, farmers markets, just little pop-ups. So you would definitely still be able to use that in this space, but kind of curating it a little bit more, just creating a better experience. So you can enter there, and there's those raised planting beds along the side with some curved benches on the inside, and then changing the current pavilion to just maybe a gazebo and raising it up a little bit, and just providing plantings throughout the site with some flexible seating that you could move around for different events. And then this is just a section view looking west from Wentz into the gazebo, and just kind of seeing like those raised planting beds and those curved benches with the shops in the background with some of those accent trees. So.
So for my plan for this site, a common thread through all three of our plans is the use of native plants. So that being said, my palette is a lot more budget friendly in scale. So focusing on 4 primary species, and then within that kind of designating those out into their purposes and functions across the site. So you have your ground covers, your canopies, and then your shrub species. All of these obviously being native to the ecoregion itself within Oklahoma. Plan view of this site. So the main issue I wanted to tackle with this was maintaining a proper use of existing usages. So as Peyton mentioned, multi-use for events is kind of the primary current function of the site. Gets pretty crowded, a lot of foot traffic. So with that being said, I thought about bringing in permeable pavers throughout that adjoining site next to the shops. So that way, you know, this time of year, lots of rains, you're not dealing with mud. Grasses tend to have that kind of an issue. And then speckled throughout the site, you're seeing that adjoining site beside the shop, you are seeing a variety of like green spaces, planting beds that tie in with that native plant palette that I just had on the previous slide. I also introduced on the east end of the site bump outs on the edge of the street, and then that would allow for food trucks to pull up to allow, you know, different kinds of retail alternatives there during event times. And then also in the shop space, I also added in a garden area there as well, another green space. And I brought in, this is intended to be the existing gazebo to save some money, that would be raised and then also centered within the site. Right now it's not symmetrical nor centered within the adjoining site. So that would be the function there. And then also proposing a gate system that slides, so it's not swinging out in the way of any of the events. And you can kind of get a better look of that here in a section view of the site. So you see the gazebo centralized, you see the sliding gate systems, and a canopy of trees across the site, as well as a variety of ground cover species. Thank you, guys.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, are we still with, we don't have any questions, or are we allowed to? Okay, excellent. Anybody want to be the representative for that? You all did great. Nobody? You'll do it? All right, great.
Adam, you can't jump up there.
I know, right? I don't want to say that. Now, a lot of these, like the greenery and stuff, how do you plan to water some of these?
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
How would you plan on watering some of these?
So the idea would be that hopefully we'd have a watering system out there, but very minimal. We'd want to do a drip irrigation system to minimize the evapotranspiration that, like, we just don't want to lose the water. So water is obviously something y'all are talking about right now. So it's a minimal thing. So within the first year, after the first year, we'll reduce the amount of water that it needs, because all the plants that we have are native to Oklahoma, so it's just about establishing them with that first year. So it's very minimal water. And, the drip irrigation would probably be the most efficient because it doesn't need as much, and you don't lose as much to evaporation.
Okay, excellent.
Adding on to Solomon's point too, all the species we use are drought tolerant, so we did that within line of finances for you guys. So again, the ballots were pretty well thought out in that regard about water and money and long-term sustainability of the plant species.
You guys know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
So did you do a mock budget?
We didn't. It was more just kind of going off of what we know exists on other sites, and then an understanding of what species are practical. We work with other sites in other cities, so we've kind of built an in-house set of palettes for what plants are practical for different ecoregions, and so we kind of all move into those sort of things.
We know that there's a grant that was awarded and that there is they're in process of redoing this area, and so we had a general idea of how much money is going to get spent there. Some of these are probably going to require a little bit more money than what the grant is awarding, but relatively speaking, we try to minimize the amount of money that's above what you have available.
So did you guys keep in mind that this area is in the Historic Preservation District in choosing your materials?
Yes, we did. Yeah. So we also know that part of this property is not actually does not belong to the city. So
That's correct. The one that the shops is.
right.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we tried to minimize the. I know that they kind of kept theirs the same. I know, I changed mine a little bit, but we tried to minimize the changes that we've made on there, just because could be seen as a waste of money that someone might say something about later on if that property is taken back and not used as the shops anymore. And so we wanted to focus more on the parking lot that belongs to the city. And so all of our stuff is removable, but we did minimize more so on that property that does not belong to the city.
Great. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
Yes.
Great job.
Any other questions for them? No. Thank you for this, thank you for your hard work on creating this, and also thank you for taking your time to come up here today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Great.
it. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, item number 6, Board of Trustees of the Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group.
Yes, Mayor and Council, you have before you, this is the official ballot for trustees to sit on the Board of Trustees for OMAG. At this time, you have the candidates in your packet, as well as recommendation letters from each candidate. Staff would recommend that the incumbents be submitted on our ballot, and we return that to OMAG.
Okay. Questions, concerns? Okay. Entertain them.
So moved.
Entertain a motion?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. If there's no further comments, cast your votes.
All votes are in.
All right. Okay, unanimous approval for all of those present for Board of Trustees of the Oklahoma Municipal Assurance Group. Item number 7, award bid number 2025-03, downtown intersection improvements. Tenny Maker.
Yes, again, Mayor, Council. So a public notice was published in our Guthrie News Leader on March 26th and April 2nd of 2025 to solicit bids for bid number 25-03. This is for our downtown intersection improvements. Sealed bids were received and read aloud on Wednesday, April 16th of 2025 in the council chambers. We received 4 bids. And SAC Services was the lowest and best bid. I'll go through all the bids. SAC Services, they're out of Oklahoma City. They come in at $828,661.45. TJ Campbell Construction out of Edmond came in at $1,031,071. Rudy Construction out of Oklahoma City came in at $1,174,575. Sorry about that. Ellsworth Construction out of Oklahoma City came in at $1,470,200 $1,052.70. Myers Engineering has reviewed the bids and city staff and recommends awarding the bid to SAC Services. This project was also presented to HPC on January 6th, 2025, and passed approval unanimously with a 5-0 vote. The downtown intersection improvements for the funding for this will be utilizing the extension of our sales tax funds.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Maker? Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
All right, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. There's no further comments or questions. We will do our votes. Madam Biggs?
All votes for it.
Okay. Unanimous approval.
Thank
for all
you.
those in attendance.
Thanks, Tanny.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 8, automatic aid agreement between City of Guthrie and City of Edmond. Fire Chief Lawson.
Yes, Mayor and Council. One thing I like to consider myself as humble, but one thing I do take pride in is building relationships. We did have a significant event happen at the airport, I'm sure Vice Mayor Gary is aware of, and then also City Manager Faulkner, whenever I called him and told him he needed to get to the airport and hung up on him. We had an aircraft fire. It was next to a hangar. It could have been a lot worse than what it was. From there, we haven't always had the best relationship with Edmond Fire Department, and we don't need to get into that logistics of that. So I reached out to them. I figured it's about that time. We both have significant investments in the airport, out at the airport, and so I reached out to the fire chief there. Me and my deputy chief went down there and talked to them about an auto aid agreement for the airport. This would be them bringing an engine and a tanker to any fire that happens at the airport automatically. I just drove the Covell route to the airport, non-emergent. It's about 8-minute response. Going emergent, probably 6. Also, I asked if they would be willing to come to any downtown structure fire we had. I've mapped that out and put that in your packet. And they've agreed to do that. Also, Chief Weaver has expressed that he's more than willing to allow us to go train at his facility. I don't know if you guys had the chance to see their facility at Station 5, but it's second to none. And that's just one thing that our guys will have access to now with this agreement, and it'll build a relationship from here on out. And the relationship's not the most important thing. The most important thing is protecting these citizens and property conservation. So with this agreement, that will just allow us to be able to do that a little better. So staff is recommending approval at this time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
So I would assume that we would have a reciprocal to go there if needed as well.
Yes, sir. That is in the packet. They've requested us to bring a tanker to I-35 and Waterloo.
Yeah.
Then the boundary goes east to Henny. The south boundary would be Coffee Creek, and then back over to I-35.
Makes sense.
Okay.
I'd move approval of the automatic aid agreement between the City of Guthrie and the City of Edmond.
Second.
We have approval in a second. If there's not any further comments or questions, let's go to the
Great
vote.
job.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All votes for it.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Unanimous approval by all those present for the automatic aid agreement between the City of Guthrie and the City of Edmond. Thank you, Chief. All right, we only have 2 more. Item number 9, Ward 1 City Council position. As everyone here in this room might acknowledge, I'm not the city councilman anymore. So discussion, consideration, and possible action to set the application and interview process to fill the vacant Ward 1 position vacated by Mayor Ropp for the balance of the current term expiring in May of 2027. This is for us, so members of council.
Mayor, I would like to jump in real
Sure.
quick. Part of the conversation we had last time was discussing whether we wanted to do a committee or interview in open session or look at executive session options. City attorney is not here. I will say part of the conversation, a big piece of the conversation hovered around having committees. I think for continuity and to eliminate any gray area in this process, we should not consider an executive session process after visiting with city attorney. I think we should either identify a committee of 3 council members to prevent a quorum, or interview the candidates in an open session, just as we did with the previous appointment to the one seat. So there is some ambiguity as to whether or not you can go into executive session. I'm not the city attorney. I'm not providing any legal advice. That's just the conversation that we had.
Right.
So what we would like to see from a staff perspective is a couple things. One, either the appointment of the committee or the direction to interview in open session. And 2, a timeline for an application process and period. So previously mentioned was a 5-day application period. We're okay with that. We can accommodate that. We've got the application in your packet, as well as a press release ready to go out and be distributed. So from this discussion today, those are really the 2 things that we need from a staff perspective to move forward in this process.
Okay, now didn't we talk about doing 2 groups of 3?
Well, Mr. Mayor, that's what I was going to bring up, that, and I talked to, I believe, Tracy about it before. We were on the last committee, and I just think it's more fair if you do have 2 groups of 3, and then we can get together individually or not.
That way everybody gets a chance.
Everybody gets a chance to interview the people, and if there's continuity, we move forward and go from there.
Does anybody have any objections to that idea?
I do not.
And the 5-day deal, I think, is fine.
So just 5.
I think that's what we've done before anyway. Isn't that what we've done before, Mayor?
I think the previous application process was 7 days, 5 business days, 7 days. It's the same, one and the same.
So we just, would it go out tomorrow?
Yeah, we can have it distributed tomorrow.
Okay.
And then, so we could start an interview process next Thursday, maybe, Friday,
If you'd like to do that.
evening,
Sure.
afternoon, whatever,
We can accommodate whatever the council would like to.
evening.
Okay. Anybody have any objections to any of that? Any questions, concerns, comments?
I think that we should determine what the committees are potentially, or we can do that. Do we have to do that in this meeting?
I think we need to know
Yes.
when we leave here what the direction is.
I mean, which committee, who's on what committee?
Yes, if you,
Yeah.
that would be good, please.
Do we do one from each ward in a bundle, or?
Yeah, I think we got them right here, 3 and 3.
Yeah, I think, made it easy, didn't it? I have no problem with that. Is that good with everybody?
Right.
Is that good with you, Grant?
It's fine with me.
You?
Same.
So 2 committees, we'll have Councilmember Williams, Taylor, Mayor Robb on one, Vice Mayor Geary, Councilmember Bothroyd, and Councilwoman Gibbs.
Yes.
Yeah.
The application will be available for 5 days, effective tomorrow,
Right.
and then staff will.
5 business days.
Yeah, exactly.
5
So-
business days,
right.
so
Yeah.
7 days.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it'll go out with Chris, I'm sure, and then news leader and our city page, of course.
We won't be able to distribute it in the news leader because their publishing deadline has passed.
Oh, okay.
But we can definitely share it with Guthrie News page, social media, and on the city website.
Excellent. All right. I'm going to entertain a
So moved, as
Motion.
discussed.
Yep.
Second.
Motion and a second. Cast your votes.
All votes for.
Unanimous approval for the Ward 1 City Council position vacation seat by Mayor Robb. Last but not least, item number 10, Central Oklahoma Community Action Agency Board appointment. Discussion, consideration, and possible action to appoint Mayor Adam G. Robb to the Central Oklahoma Community Action Agency Board of Directors. Looks like I'm taking this one. So this is a really wonderful organization. I believe we go to Shawnee, right? Yep, Shawnee to attend. It's like once every other month. I'll go in person, and I'll be one of the representatives for Logan County, not just Guthrie. This is an organization that helps low-income individuals and families avoid crisis situations in 2 ways, meeting emergency needs first, and I would be one of the members on that board if you guys.
Motion to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and a second. All right, thank you for that confidence.
All votes for.
Okay. All right, unanimous approval. to appoint thyself onto the Central Oklahoma Community Action Agency Board appointment. We'll jump down here to item number 13, City Manager's Report.
Yes, Mayor and Council, will be brief this evening. I want to express my appreciation for the 67th City Council. Mayor Gentling, thank you very much for your time and dedication to the city. Look forward to the future with the 68th City Council. We hit the ground running, as you well know. And lastly, I want to thank the Public Works Authority crew, Tenny Maker and his team. They have been working literally nonstop around the clock between the rain and the water main break issues. And I'm not joking, Sunday morning at 4 a.m. I got a call from Tenny regarding a water leak. At 4:30 they had it isolated. They get another phone call about a second leak, 4:30 Sunday morning. And so our guys have been working around the clock and they're doing the best they can do with the conditions that they have. And I thank them for that. And with that, Mayor, that's all I have for you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Item number 14, request comments from members of City Council. Councilman Williams.
Well, I mirror what Mr. Faulkner said about the utility crews. I've been, in the last 5 days, been on 2 of those breaks, the major breaks, because they're both within a 2-block different directions of my house. And watch those guys get down that hole and get in the mud and saw the possibility of a dangerous situation when it wanted to cave in today. So just, yeah, those guys, what can you say? Appreciate it very much. And Chief Lawson, I'm really impressed that you humbly reached out to Edmond Fire Department and made that relationship that's going to benefit us both. I'm really proud of you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Taylor.
Gosh, staff, you guys are going above and beyond. I appreciate everything you guys are all doing. I've been seeing videos and stuff like that, and Chris put some stuff up too. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing. And Eddie, thank you. I know 4:30 is awful early in the morning, so it's probably not fun.
I'm just getting a phone call, they're doing the work. So I don't deserve any of the thank you, but thank you, yes.
Appreciate the honesty, Eddie.
Yeah.
Oh, and one last thing, 89ers turned out to be pretty darn good. I was a little rainy, but next year, I'm not gonna guarantee no rain, but I'm just gonna say we probably shouldn't have any rain next year. And it'll probably rain cats and dogs. I know, I jinxed it. Oh, and one last thing, our ponds and lake is now full. So
yes,
we shouldn't have any water problems except for what you guys work on. Other than that, that's it.
Jeff, we'll knock on wood.
Yeah, right,
before
exactly.
you- Yeah.
Go down.
All right. Vice Mayor Aguirre.
Thank you. I echo what the city manager and my right honorable colleagues have said about the city staff working since my home is on the west side, and I appreciate being able to bathe and have water. That's important. You know, I go to the gym twice a day now, so you know, like that's important to me. I appreciate the work at getting the mutual aid agreement between Edmond and the city of Guthrie. The airport's an enormously important asset. If that were to go up, you know, and cause major damage, that would be a big economic hit to our community, so I appreciate that. Congratulations on taking the gavel.
Thank you.
Did a fine job on your first meeting, and I think that's,
All right,
that's
yeah.
fantastic.
Thank
So
you.
that's all I had. Thank you.
Okay. And Councilman Bothroyd.
I thank staff wholeheartedly on everything that they've done, and then that includes Judge Hood. You kind of work behind the scenes. We hopefully never get to see you, other than in these cases. But we love you just the same. And Steve and Sue Gentling, thanks for sharing him for 10 years. That was, we've had a great up and down working relationship at times, but a great one, because we've got a lot done. Welcome Maneka on to the council. Look forward to working with you. It'll be fun. You'll like it. You'll love it. It will. And congratulations, Adam. You did a great job today, and
thank you.
We expect, and we'll see. I'm sure we'll see great things out of you. So, and that's it for me.
Thank you, Madam Councilwoman Gibbs.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Today has been a really great meeting. I look forward to sitting here along some very fantastic men up here. And I appreciate Mayor Gentling and his 10 years of service, and Sue, who I do get to see on Monday, hopefully, at Garden Club. And I do appreciate everything that has happened here lately on the west side and all the hard work. Tenny, you guys do an amazing job. I've worked with you for years off and on multiple projects here in town, and you do such a fantastic job that a lot of people don't realize. I do know exactly what it is a lot of the time, and you take a lot of heat, and it's really appreciated, really. And your guys do a fantastic job with very little. Absolutely. And what you guys do is amazing here, and it's really appreciated. I want you to know that. Judge Hood, I'm really glad this is my first time to meet you. No tickets for me so far. I'm knocking on that wood. And Eddie, thank you very much for all of the updates between now and being seated and being elected. I really appreciate already being pulled into the loop. Many that are here in the audience supported me in my election endeavors, and I appreciate all of you. A lot of doors were knocked on, and a lot of people were in my corner, and I can't be more than grateful, and I do appreciate it. And of course, our men and women in blue on the police department. Today and this week is very important. Our police department has been under the microscope this year, and they put a lot on the line. And my husband and I were there in a very tragic incident with a friend of ours, and we got to see firsthand just how hard they work and really how hard they keep everyone safe, and how hard they work at really trying to mitigate every situation. Their first option is never to harm anyone, and they really tried really hard, and I had to keep a secret from my husband for a matter of weeks. That was really hard. I am not good at secrets, and I am not good at secrets from him. So he had no clue he was receiving that citizen award today. So Chief Lawson, it is very hard to be the bigger person, and it is very hard to go down to another department, no matter what that is, and enter into an agreement and reach out with that olive branch. It is incredibly hard, and I appreciate you doing that. The entire city does, and I do believe that this makes Guthrie much classier. So I appreciate that, and I look forward to working with every single one of you. Of course, Dan has already had the pleasure of working with me off and on for years. And I say pleasure because it has been fun. And I do like to negotiate, and I really do like to do the best for the greatest amount of good, and I look forward to being here.
Good job.
Thank you,
All right.
guys.
Excellent. That was so good, Maneka.
There's the princess.
That was so good.
I didn't even write it down.
Oh, yeah, I know. You did great. I want to ditto what everybody has said. I want to thank, well, first off, congratulations to the police again on the proclamations. I think it's awesome that the very first thing I got to do right out of the gate was to award something to you guys, and you deserve it. Also want to thank again Tenny and your entire crew. Just like police and fire, you guys really are a 24/7 team, and you're always on call, and this just shows that. This is not the first time, and it won't be the last, so we appreciate it. Like I said in the beginning, I'm truly humble and honored to have this position. I did have something really quick. I'll keep it fast. I thought this was kind of fun and interesting. I want to thank again Kim Biggs for getting me all this information on the mayors of Guthrie. She had to kind of scramble to get them all for me, and for me to learn that I am the 54th mayor of Guthrie. A little fun little trivia, again, just give me 60 seconds here, it's kind of fun. Our first mayor was D.B. Dyer in April of 1889. He is also our shortest serving mayor, not in height, but actually in duration.
What happened to him?
He served for 8 weeks. Steve, this job ain't that bad, is it? Oh my gosh. He served for 8 weeks. Our longest serving mayor was the most recent one. So Stephen J. Gentling served for 10 years at our longest serving mayor. Our first woman mayor, female mayor, was Ruth Patterson in 1955. That's also significantly when they tore down the city hall. I'm not insinuating anything with that. I'm just saying. I'm not at all. I'm just saying that's what happens to be when that was. Our first, it really was. There's no insinuation with it. Our first African American mayor is Evelyn Nephew in 1997. She was mayor number 49. Our youngest mayor, I wrote down, was Ringrose, Mayor Ringrose. I had it written down here by my... It's Robert. Yeah, Robert Ringrose, right, at the age of 36. Our second youngest, again, was that first guy, D.B. Dyer. And then third youngest is yours truly. So that's why I threw all that in there, just to get to...
Trying to get your age set up.
Just to get my age set up. So I am the third youngest serving mayor. And then last one, because we're all tired, I was scanning through here and I actually texted Kim Biggs if she had noticed any one of them, if their names had popped out. And she goes, yeah, it did. It did. Our 33rd mayor in 1965, first, middle, and last name, Johnny Johnson. So, Johnny Johnson. His parents were really creative. 1965, 33. Thought that name kind of stood out to me. So, with that, again, I'm truly honored and humbled to be here. I want to thank my wife, mostly for all of her support through everything. It's not easy to do this job, not only in the mayoral role, but the city manager role, the staff role, the fire chief role, everybody, city council, we all know. And so I want to thank her for all of her support. With that being said, for all the newbies in here, you think it's over, and I think Dan knows what I'm talking about. I'm going to hit the gavel. It feels like it's over. There is another meeting right after it. Shouldn't be, but just a few minutes though. So with that, we will adjourn our city council meeting, but we will now open our Guthrie Public Works Authority meeting Tuesday, May 6, 2025. Second item on the agenda is the consent agendas, items A through D. Is there a motion, or does anybody would like something removed or questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Let's see the votes.
All votes are in.
All right, unanimous approval for the consent agenda. Item number 3, items from consent agenda that were removed, there were none. Item number 4, resolution number 2025-03. Tenny, are you doing another one, or did we already?
Mayor, these two items are, because it is a joint resolution.
Okay, so we've already
Yep,
done them?
so it's the same item, if you'll just approve it as you did in the
So
city
moved.
council meeting.
Okay.
Second.
So move in a second. All right, cast your votes.
All votes are in.
Okay, unanimous approval from everyone, even a missing person for for resolution number 2025-03. Last item, number 5, contract approval and award.
Mr. Chairman, I move
Okay, yep.
approval to award, or consideration to authorize the city manager to award without further approval by the authority of the trustees any contract or contracts to any qualified contractor in the encumbrance not to exceed $600,000, confirming the Guthrie City Council's vote.
Second. Motion and a second. Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, let's do our votes. Madam Biggs? Okay, unanimous approval for item number 5. And with that, okay, now's the real one, okay? We are adjourned.
Good job.